to be talking about the areas around the triangle that have the most availability of new construction homes today, so stick around.
First up on the list is Raleigh. So Raleigh, it feels kind of like a cop-out to say Raleigh because that's such a large area of the triangle, but it is where a lot of new construction is happening, especially on the southern side. So the northern side of Raleigh has a lot of like custom home, luxury custom home new construction. The southern side of Raleigh is where you find the more affordable new construction that's going in. So the average in Raleigh for new construction currently is right around $500,000.
Yep. And in Raleigh and in Durham, kind of the bigger cities, you see a lot more of the new construction being more on the townhome side of things recently, but there is still a good amount of single family new build in the Raleigh area. Like Zach mentioned, Southern Raleigh is going to have a little more, has a little more of a rural feel in Southern Raleigh. It's got more new developments happening. You have Howling Cow ice cream right down there in Southern Raleigh, which is really nice. And also like Yates Mill, historic Yates Mill Park is a great place to be. And there's a lot of new construction kind of happening around those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, number 2 on the list, and these are actually in order of most to least.
Right.
But number 2 on the list is Fuquay, Fuquay Varina, to be technical. But if you've ever driven through Fuquay, you would think it would be near the top of the list, and it is. There is a ton of new construction in Fuquay.
Yeah, it is one of the Raleigh suburbs that is like just has exploded in the last few years. So there's a ton of new build neighborhoods and opportunities in Fuquay. Just a lot kind of happening in that area. It's going to feel a little more removed than like Raleigh does, for example, but it's not a bad commute to Raleigh at all.
No, it's not. And I mean, Fuquay is a pretty long zip code, and so like there's like a northern portion that's really close to Holly Springs, and there's a southern portion that's a little more rural feeling. But it's not a bad commute, and honestly, it's not a bad commute to Durham either from some parts of Fuquay, because the main portion to get there is going to be a toll road, which is going to limit the amount of traffic there. So it's a surprisingly short drive from Fuquay to Durham, or Fuquay to the Research Triangle Park.
Right, and if you were kind of interested in like the Apex and Holly Springs area, but you really wanted something that was newer and you couldn't quite get into Apex and Holly Springs, Fuquay has kind of like a similar... It's in the similar like area, so you have easy access to Apex and Holly Springs when you're in Fuquay too. The average price of a new build home in Fuquay that has closed in the last 3 months, is where we're getting this data points from, was about $499,000. So pretty close to what you could find in Raleigh, but most likely these Fuquay homes, those average prices, you're probably going to get a bigger home and a slightly larger yard, not huge yards. Most of new construction in the Triangle, you're not going to find a big yard. We do have a lot of people asking, we want a new build with a new yard for $500,000. It's not going to happen.
But it's I mean, it's a big deal that you can get a home, like the average is below $500 for a new construction house. And I mean, that's a big deal.
Number 3 on the list was really surprising for us, of actively available today new construction. And number 3 on the list was Durham, which feels weird because there's usually, when you're driving around and when we have clients, there doesn't seem like there's a lot of new build opportunity usually in Durham. But another interesting point about what's available in Durham, over half of it is attached homes, so like condos, townhomes, things like that. So I think that's why it feels a little weird to think that that's like in the top contenders.
There are
a
lot of condos going into downtown Durham, and that probably, I think that's what messes with the numbers.
Right, so it kind of feels like that. There's still a good amount of detached homes, and I factor that into our list here too. But Durham's just a bigger city than some of these others, and so things can be a little more spread out than when you're like somewhere like Fuquay. But the average price point in Durham is about $490,000 for a new build, and those are for detached new builds. That number goes up when you put in some of these luxury condos. If you're looking for like a luxury condo or something, it's probably going to be significantly more than that average. But if you're looking for a detached home, that's right around where the averages are falling right now.
All right, number 4 on the list is Clayton. If you've driven through Clayton, just like Fuquay, you would not be surprised that it is on the list. I am surprised it's below Durham on the list. Really blown away. But anyway, so Clayton, the average price point in Clayton for new construction right now is $416. So it's less than what you find in Fuquay. Clayton is kind of similar to Fuquay in that it's a growing area. There's a lot of new developments. There's a lot of new amenities being built. I mean, you go into Clayton, and I mean, it's just constant new construction around a lot of these larger neighborhoods.
Right, right. And like Zach mentioned, it's surprising to think that there's actually technically more new build in Durham. To clarify, this is what's available on the MLS. That's new construction today. So there is other opportunities that's not necessarily listed on the MLS yet. So that's just something to keep in mind. These are just the data points that are fun.
New construction doesn't release every. You can walk into a neighborhood, a new construction neighborhood, and there'll be certain things listed, and there'll be certain things that are coming up to be listed, or other things that are available.
They try to like sell things in certain order.
Yeah, it's different than
some are spec homes, some are opportunities. So it is a little bit different. So just keep the order of our list in mind. But yeah, when you drive into Clayton or a place like Fuquay, it just feels like new construction, like everywhere, like these huge neighborhoods. Clayton especially, like you have a huge master plan community called Flowers Plantation that has multiple sections, phases, and builders.
You got 3 huges. Yeah.
It's huge, guys. But you have big things like that, whereas in Durham, it's more like typically it's going to be like smaller standalone communities. So it feels very different as far as like how much is established versus how much is new construction. Clayton definitely has a newer feel to it because it's really developed like the last 5 years. It feels like just considerably same as Fuquay. But so the average price point there is cheaper. It's going to be one of our further out, probably the furthest out on our list today, because Clayton kind of falls into the Johnston County side. So it's kind of pushing like what you would consider the triangle at that point in time. I definitely still say it's within the triangle, but it's like the furthest I would go and still say that you're still in the triangle. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not a great, like if you work in Durham or RTP, it's not necessarily a great location for that because you literally have to cut all the way across Raleigh to get there. But if you're not working in Durham or the Research Triangle part, maybe you work in Raleigh, it could be a really good location.
Definitely.
All right, last on the list is Wake Forest. Wake Forest is probably my favorite on the list for several reasons, but the average price point in Wake Forest is a little bit higher than what the other new construction is. It was $693 if I remember correctly.
For current.
For what's currently available, but there's a lot of options in Wake Forest at multiple price points. So you can get some really luxury style homes in Wake Forest at $8, $9, up to $1 million. You can get homes in Wake Forest that are in the 4s and the 5s, and so there's a ton of options that range the whole spectrum of prices.
Right, and I think that average being higher kind of goes to what Zach kind of mentioned with the luxury homes. Like when people tell us we're looking for a luxury custom home, Wake Forest is like going to have the most abundance. North Raleigh and Wake Forest are going to have the most abundance of available, like more estate home type things. And so those are kind of pulling that average price up. But when you go into like your typical new build community, it's going to be more like the 5s range typically, sometimes in the 4s, sometimes a little higher, maybe in the 6s. But we love Wake Forest because it just has such a great family feel to it. There's nice parks, and they're kind of expanding their greenway trail system, and they have a lot of commercial stuff that has also come in at the rate that all these new homes are being built too. So you have a lot of newer grocery stores, there's a Target, there's everything, all your fast food type places, chain type places. Not saying that's why you move to an area, but it's always nice to have a Target that you don't have to drive 45 minutes to because you don't live in Raleigh proper, right? So, I mean, you feel like you can live in Wake Forest and you don't have to go outside of Wake Forest to do your shopping, which is really nice. Wake Forest can feel a little isolated sometimes in that it's in Wake County by Raleigh, but the best way to get to Raleigh is Capitol Boulevard, which is nobody's favorite drive, or to get to Durham on 98, also not usually anybody's favorite drive. So it does feel like a little less convenient to get to those spots, but not impossible by any means.
Yeah, and so those are the 5 locations. So one thing to think about when it comes to new construction right now that's really interesting to me, and this is in terms of just the market conditions, but the resale market is really hot right now, especially like homes that photograph well, that show well, really hot, multiple offers, going over asking price. By the way, this is filmed, what's today? March
27th?
28th, 29th. It's late March 2023. But what's interesting is I'm not seeing the same competitiveness on the new construction side. So we have clients that are interested in new construction. Some of these new construction homes that they're getting have been sitting on the market for a while. Other times, other neighborhoods, they're moving a little quicker, but it's not the same level of competitiveness that's happening on the resale side. So new construction right now is a great option if you're interested in moving to the area and you're open to new construction. There's a lot of benefits about it that don't necessarily carry over to the resale side. The lack of bidding wars, the lack of high due diligence amounts, all those things.
Right.
So new constructions, honestly, it's kind of a safe haven right now for
Feels
for
a
lack
lot
of a
less
better.
stressy.
Yeah.
Less stressy.
Stressful would be the.
Stressy sounds nicer.
Anyway, so yeah, new construction is a really good option. And so yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. That's one of the reasons we're doing this video, is because percentage wise, we've done more new construction this year than we have really ever. And I think that's part of it is it's kind of this, it's almost like a safe haven right now.
It feels easier to people. And then, it's always nice to, you might come at a cost of, some of the new builds can feel a little cookie cutter sometimes, sure. Maybe the yard is smaller, that kind of comes along with new construction in the area, but you're not dealing with fixing a roof or an HVAC in a couple years. Like most of these things they're brand new, they're gonna last a long time in theory. And so it can feel like just easier overall, less stressy.
Yeah. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, we have other videos you can check out as well. We do videos on the area on a weekly basis. I'm Zach. This is my beautiful wife, Cindy. We are a couple real estate agents in the area, so if you're looking to buy or sell, we would love to be your real estate resource of choice. So you can find our information below. You can also find us on Instagram.
Yeah, you can follow along with us on Instagram, kind of see some of our local adventures around here at the Honeycut Realtors. We'd love to have you follow along with us there.
Yeah, but thanks again for tuning in, and we will see y'all next time. Was that? Did you want me to say something?
It's doing your creepy look.
Nah.